Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is Mouthwashing, a short thriller rich in themes and surrealism. Is mouthwashing worth skipping brushing for? Let's find out. Mouthwashing is a story-driven walking simulator with horror and surreal elements that's rich in themes and character deconstruction. The game starts with a bang, forcing you to deliberately direct your space freighter and its crew into a meteor, causing catastrophic damage and leaving the ship stranded in space. The game then jumps to several weeks after, where the captain has suffered critical wounds and dismemberment and is blamed for the cause of the accident. The other 4 crew need to keep it together as the ship starts running low on food, water, and air, and the stress and responsibility of the situation starts to take hold. Mouthwashing is told in a unique way, as while it starts on the inciting incident, as most good stories do, between before and after the crash, at different points in the timeline. Before the crash, you play as the Captain Curly, with the mystery for the player to uncover being why Curly crashed the space freighter, while after the crash, you're Jimmy, previously second in command, now self-proclaimed new captain, and you want to find out if he or any of the crew can get out of this situation. I am intentionally being vague to avoid spoilers, as the game is around 2 hours long and entirely story-driven. Suffice to say, it's masterfully paced, and not only is each character well thought out, how they tie into the game's overall themes around the burden of leadership is well written. It's also an enticing mystery from beginning to end. As mentioned, this is a walking simulator, so most sections you'll be tossed on the ship with an objective, and you'll wander around until you solve how to do it. It's very much a bottle story, in that you're really only in one location, which is this section of the ship, for the entire game, and the game cleverly has you learn the locations of things in early sections so you remember them when needed in later ones. Aside from walking, there's one stealth-ish section where you use light to spot an invisible enemy, as well as a section where you dodge a charging enemy in a vent, but neither are particularly difficult or engaging. As you near the end of the game, the visuals get very surreal as the whole thing hits its downward spiral to the finale, and that's where most of the game's actual horror comes from. Aside from that, it's mostly just rising tension, with only 1 or 2 jump scares to spice things up. And really, that's Mouthwashing, a short sci-fi thriller, and yes, the title actually fits the game despite my description. I just don't want to spoil how because it's more fun when you see it for yourself. So what I like about Mouthwashing? Well, the story is expertly told, with the jumping back and forth from several days before the crash to several weeks or months after, and then back again, allowing for some captivating mysteries and reveals to be uncovered at just the right times. It also absolutely sticks the landing, which can be a rarity these days. Additionally, I grew to really like the characters, and maybe more importantly, the themes that they represented. It's a game about both wanting more responsibility or progression in life, but the stressors or banality of actually progressing. And lastly, I love how this game looks. I know the PS1 era chunky polygons and dithering are the new pixel art in indie games, but I will die on the hill that the abstraction that the PS1 graphics provide amplifies horror more than even the shiniest HD polygons. When it comes to the bad, there were more than a few moments when I felt the game wasn't clear on what to do next, with several even requiring you to run around not finding anything before it would unlock where you needed to go. Didn't love that. Additionally, the stealth section is not great, especially since your light only reached the monster 10% of the time. Instead of sneaking, I felt like I was playing red light, green light, with failure being a lengthy checkpoint and frustration. And lastly, this is a completely story-driven experience, and a short one at that. If you're like me and love walking sim-esque games, then you're on board already, but those who don't like this genre might find its lack of gameplay dull. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale: must play, maybe consider, and don't bother, and Mouthwashing caught me completely off guard. Its retro visuals work wonders in making its suspense and surrealism even more uncomfortable, and the fractured way the story was told kept me completely enthralled from start to finish. It also helps that the story it tells is not only interesting, but has strong themes and plenty of aspects to analyze. While those seeking more gameplay will be disappointed, and it did have a few obtuse sections, Mouthwashing is a surreal, uncomfortable trip on a space truck that anybody who loves story-rich games should check out. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Have you heard of Mouthwashing? I keep playing more and more obscure games for this channel, and guess what? They're all pretty good. But if you happen to play it, please let me know in the comments. And regardless, you should definitely go out there and brush your teeth and floss every day. And also check this game out.